Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and this video is going to be a complete breakdown of the leaked 1.12 patch notes. I'm gonna give you every detail. We're gonna read over it, give you a live reaction, and everything you need to know on what's good, what's bad, and all of that, going over every change in detail. Also, for the first time ever, I'm gonna actually read some mean comments from my video last night and kind of respond and explain kind of what was going on and why I did that video the way I did. So yeah, let's get into it. Alrighty, so I've never done this before, but I thought it'd be kind of fun to read some of these comments that were criticizing me or upset about last night's video and kind of just react live to the comments and respond. So first of all, if you don't know, last night's video I did a breakdown of kind of the speculation for the 1.12 patch, when I thought it might go live, and kind of what the rumors are and what we think might be coming in the patch. But as a Plarium moderator, I wasn't able to at the time of recording that video able to like give specifics. So I was trying my best to kind of do a video to keep people informed, because there was a lot of rumors and a lot of discussion going on about 1.12, but my hands were tied, so it was a tough situation I was in. But yeah, let's go ahead and read these here. Let me start by saying you create great content, and I often refer to your guides. However, I feel someone needs to say this video feels empty. You have already read the patch notes, you know the changes, and you are speculating. Continue creating great opinionated content based on your experiences, as you have for months now, that have helped myself and other beginners. I think most of your content is great, but this video is more clickbait than substance. Also, first, let me say, I don't ever delete comments that criticize me. I'm totally open to criticism. The only time I delete comments are when they're just like blatantly toxic and they don't provide any sort of discussion or feedback. But comments like this that are, even if they're negative, if they're thought out and it's accurate feedback and criticism, I'll leave it on there, and I usually read it and try to take notes on it. So my response to this would be, I appreciate the feedback. It's how I grow as a content provider. Yeah, just kind of what I said earlier. I was in a tough position. I know it's kind of stupid that I'm sitting here speculating when I've seen the patch notes, but but like, I was in a really tough spot because I don't want to just say nothing. I don't want to like not make a video and not address patch 1.12 and all the speculation out there. But I was in kind of this limbo where I'm also, I don't want to betray Plarium and start leaking all their stuff. So admittedly, it was a really tough video for me to make, but I wanted to do something, and it'll be a learning experience for me. I'll do better next time we're in kind of limbo waiting for a patch. Then there's another one here I'll read. Anyway, I don't know what I can say without sounding like I'm being mean, but it just seems ridiculous for me. It just seems ridiculous to me for you to talk the way you did and video about changes when you had the exact changes in front of you. So yeah, again, kind of that was the general sentiment from the community on my video, was like, hey, why did you even bother? Why'd you do this when you know that you can't like be honest? It just seems silly to kind of sit here and speculate. And that's fair criticism. So I'll take that. I'll learn from it. And next time, what I'll probably do is either make a video sooner about the speculation and what I expect the patch to be before I know the patch notes, or I'll just wait till the patch notes go live and I can give you guys some more accurate information. I was really caught in a limbo period where I knew what the patch notes were, but I couldn't tell you guys, but I wanted to make a video. So it was just kind of weird. And yeah, I appreciate your patience and giving me the feedback. So I will definitely learn and do better. Like this video, I'm gonna actually pull them up and we're gonna go over. I'm gonna walk you guys through exactly what's happening. So, new features. We've got a new platinum tier arena coming, and I've went through the document and kind of bolded the things that I really wanted to make sure and talk about. So platinum tier is going to be 300 positions. Seems a little bit low. Raid seems to have tons and tons of players. It's a mobile RPG, so I would have thought this would be like 500 or even 1,000. So platinum tier could be pretty tough to get to. I mean, just in like the high ranked clans, you've got like 1,000 players alone. So it's going to be pretty competitive to get into platinum tier. I think there's There's definitely more than 300 really good players out there. So it's going to be kind of like a StarCraft 2 Grandmaster. I think StarCraft 2 is 200 spots. It's going to be kind of a type of thing where the first people to get there can stay there as long as they don't like drop too far and people below them overtake them. So it sounds like it's going to always be 300. And then also at the reset, everybody's going to go back to 2,900. And it sounds like Platinum tier offers greater rewards, so the effort will be worth it. So yeah, I expect it to be highly competitive. I expect people to be trying to get up there for the better rewards, and I won't really know if the 300 number is proper until I see how it's implemented and exactly how competitive it is. But I do think overall this is going to be a really good change for the game to make PvP more competitive at the top. All right, new campaign difficulty. This is obviously a big deal. Really nothing to highlight here except Nightmare campaign difficulty is now available as of 1.12. So what this means, it's going to probably cost 10 energy to farm instead of 8 in Brutal, and it means we're going to be able to probably be more efficient in terms of silver and XP per energy. So it's going to be a little bit easier to get those additional 6-star champions to start building those faction war teams and stuff. So it should make the end game grind for 6 stars a little bit better, and hopefully it'll drop 4, 5, and 6-star artifacts so that you can actually, you know, farm some usable pieces on some of those stages like the lifesteal and the speed sets and stuff like that. All right, now faction wars rebalance. This is a big one that needed to be addressed. So in bold, mind you, this is not going to be not going to turn into a walk in the park, but strong teams should have an easier time pushing further into their respective crypts. That's good. Again, we won't know exactly how proper it's implemented until we see it. We've removed rank 1 glyphs from stage 10 and 11. That needed to happen. If you get to stage 10, you shouldn't be getting 1-star glyphs anymore, so that's a definitely needed change. All right, and it sounds like they're going to keep an eye on faction wars and address it as needed to help kind of balance it in the future, so that's good. All right, now this is kind of the big thing. Just a general thought, side tangent. Champion balance needs to happen a lot more often. Like every 3 or 4 months just is not often enough. You know, things rebalancing and changing of the meta and changing of champions needs to happen a lot more often. Like once every 6 weeks or so, once every 3 or 4 months is not enough in the mobile market. So I hope they start doing things like this more often. And let's go through this and let's see if these things make a difference. All right, so Soulless is a Night Revenant Void legendary. Alrighty, so it looks like the only thing changing on Soulless is the AoE, Reign of Terror. So it's adding a provoke, then places a provoke. It looks like a 100% chance. So that's pretty good. A 4-turn cooldown. It already had some decent utility. 4-turn AoE, yeah, debuff extender. So Soulless getting a needed buff. Soulless wasn't as garbage as everybody thinks. It was usable in certain scenarios. His base speed is really low, which stinks for him, but yeah, he'll be just a little bit better now, and I don't anticipate him being like god tier or anything, but it's a change that helps him out is kind of my first reaction, so it is what it is. All right, War Mother, a pretty famously bad legendary that people kind of meme about when they pull, so let's see if this is worth noting. All right, so it looks like the A1 is going to be a lot more reliable of a decreased attack source. So it's going from 30% to 50%. That's good. That's a pretty solid A1. So the fact that it's getting buffed makes it a really good A1. And then the Special Brew is going to have bombs increased damage by 100% against bosses. So War Mother's actually going to be a decent like AoE damage dealer in dungeons and versus bosses. I don't know how good she'll be versus the clan boss. Bombs being doubled, I don't think it's going to be viable still. I mean, I guess if you give her War Master and we'll test it out, we'll see. But she'll be pretty good if she's fully booked and maxed out. I could see her being an okay like dungeon damage dealer, and the bomb should hit pretty hard against bosses. I don't think it's going to push her up too much, but it's definitely at least something for her that she needed. I would have given War Mother a little bit more than that, but hey, it helps. Next is Cythalia. Alright, pretty famously in need of a buff and has been for a while, so let's see what's going on here. Alright, put to flame. It looks like the HP burn's going from 30% to 50%. As long as it keeps the 10%, I'm okay with that, because then we can get it to 60. So that'd be pretty. I would make it attacks one enemy twice for Cythalia. And then her big heal is going to also kind of have a Shamrock type effect, where it's got like a random buff addition. It's either going to be increased attack, increased defense, increased speed, or revive on death. So I would have just had it increase speed and put I would have had it place increased speed and revive on death. That's what I would have done. You have to be careful with increased speed because it can mess up counterattack rotations, but I think it would have given her a role in a different team composition. And I don't like making it like super random like that, because it's gonna make the buff kind of weird to get consistent value out of. Or they could have honestly just made it place a revive on death buff. That would have been a help. But still, And then attack 3 times at random. This is changing to each hit instead of just the third hit. Each hit is gonna place a leech. I mean, okay, I would have had it be attack 4 times at random and place a 15% leech. But, you know, okay. So again, Cythalia got a little bit of love, but I don't anticipate it pushing her up too far on the tier list. She's going to be decent, just not, like, really good or anything. And then Lugan is kind of a weird one. So his A1 changed to up to a... or wait. Yeah, his A1 heals all allies now. So the problem with Lugan was he used to heal all allies except himself. So he would kind of have no self-sustain, and then once he falls down, you know, there goes your healer. So it looks like they're addressing this with lowering his heal, but having it heal everybody. I think they lowered it too much, though. Heals all allies by 10%. It used to be heals all allies by 25%. I think what they should have done is make this heal all allies by 20%, including him. I think that would have made him good, but not, like, broken. So I think they should... I would have lowered it a little bit to 20, but not 10. And then places a shield buff on this champion for 2 turns equal to 10% of their max HP. That's good. I would have made it maybe 15%, but kind of a nerf and a buff, so a weird spot for Lugan. I think he might be slightly more generally useful, but definitely not like a super impactful change in my opinion. Bloodgorged. Gonna be an undead right here. Okay, so we've got break defenses. This is A1, and it looks like they're changing it from 30% to 55% of placing decreased defense. Okay, that's not bad. That's a pretty good A1. And then it's changing Raging Beast to attack all enemies, and that becomes a pretty good that becomes a pretty good skill. A 3-turn AoE that puts 1 target skill on cooldown for each target, and the damage is increased. Now this is a pretty significant change. Bloodgorged will be a pretty decent legendary now, a pretty decent like damage dealer and attack character, because this Decapitate already hit super hard. So yeah, and the A1 is pretty decent, and this 3-turn AoE will be pretty decent. So yeah, Bloodgorged definitely got about the right amount of love. I think he'll be good, but not like godly. And he might be godly. I don't know. I don't have him, but and the changes, they look pretty good for what Bloodgorged should have got. In my opinion, that's their best job of balancing so far out of what I've read. All right, Bloodfeather is an orc. Let's go here. Okay, Bloodfeather is going to be this one. Bloodfeather's been pretty notoriously bad for a while, so I'm glad they're addressing this one. So it looks like the theme for Bloodfeather is they're going to be changing everything to synergize and have a 20% extra chance to critical hit, instead of being like 10%, 15%, and then 0%. So I do like that design decision. So what's cool about Bloodfeather is she's only going to need 80% crit rate to be like a viable attack damage dealer. She does have a pretty decent attack score at 1542. So if her multipliers are even decent, she could hit pretty hard. You know, only needing an 80% crit rate means you've got some room for some crit damage on her, and she could be a pretty hard hitter here. So, and then the A2, yeah, that's the only change is the crit rate. So okay, because her A1 is pretty garbage. I would have added a little bit of utility to this, like a 40% chance to place a 15% decreased speed, like something. The A2, the only change was the crit rate. It's an okay A2 on a 3-turn cooldown. It's not great, not bad. And then attack one enemy. Oh, here's the decreased speed. Okay, so I would have given the A1 different utility. And it looks like damage is increased on this. It's a 4-turn cooldown. Attack one enemy. I would have lowered this to like a 2-turn cooldown. Yeah. I don't know. I think she'll still be a pretty average epic damage dealer. I don't think it's like super game changing, but I do like the changes. And not every champion in the game can be god tier. It's not possible. So all in all, I like her changes, but not like super overwhelming or underwhelming. Excruciator is going to be the demon spawn epic. That is right here. Okay, so we've got a pretty significant change to this champion. Looks like the change is going to be the A1 will heal this champion by 25% damage while attacking without veil. So a little bit of sustain, even if they're not under a permanent veil. So I like that. I would have made it like 30%. It's an A1. It's probably not going to do a lot of damage as a single hitter. I would have made it like 30%, but yeah, that's all right. And then the neck snapper is going to be, while attacking without a veil, fully depletes the target's turn meter and fills this champion turn meter. That's pretty cool. Can only do 50% up to bosses. And this turn meter decrease cannot be resisted. That's pretty cool. I like that. That's pretty good. 3-turn cooldown, turn meter manipulation, increased damage. She could be decent against the spider. Turn meter manipulation is very good against the spider, and it can't be resisted. If her AI is smart enough to target the spider, this could be pretty decent. So, yeah, but she doesn't have any AoE, but she does have turn meter reduction. So I don't know. I like that change. That's definitely at least interesting. We'll have to play around with that. Okay, Grimskin. Grimskin is going to be an ogre in tribes right here. Okay, so we've got attack one enemy with a 40% chance of placing a decreased speed. Okay, so they're just making the A1 a little bit more reliable. Okay, that's a pretty decent A1. And then, okay, they're changing him from attack to defense, so that's cool. I like that. He'll be a pretty good character for Faction Wars, definitely. And then the A2. So they're adding a 40% chance to place a provoke debuff on all enemies if the first provoke is placed. That's pretty good. So yeah, he'll be pretty decent for dungeons and Faction Wars. He'll be based on defense, and he's got AoE provoke. That's pretty good. And then yeah, the only change here is buff removal based on defense. Yeah, Grimskin is definitely sliding up the board on the epic tier list. He'll be a pretty generally useful champion and be very good for like Faction Wars and dungeons. So that's pretty good there. All right, Hexia. Hexia is I'm trying to remember here. I think undead. I think this is Hexia. Okay. Grave Rot looks like they're just making it. Oh, they're making it the big version of decreased defense and a little bit more reliable. So I do like that. That was needed for her. So that becomes a pretty good A1. The A2 is going to grant an extra turn. Oh, it's okay. Grant an extra turn and place a 50% increased attack buff on this champion for 2 turns if this attack kills an enemy. I mean, all right. I don't know how impactful that is, but I guess it's a net positive, so we'll take it. And then Soul Harvest is going to be places a 30% increased speed. So heal this champion. places a 30% increase. Okay. Yeah, not bad. Okay, so Hexia got a little bit better. I don't think anything like super game-changing, but a little bit better. And then Rhine Beast, or Rain Beast. You guys always yell at me for calling him Rhine Beast. It's because I play Overwatch and I'm used to saying Reinhardt. Okay, so Rain Beast. So it looks like the big change here is on It Glows. It's a very good passive that can really snowball. And what happened here is can only occur once per turn, which is huge, and will not place a shield buff on this champion. So what they're trying to address is the unkillable Rain Beasts in the arena, like especially for early to mid game players. Rain Beast is just something that you can sit there and fight for an hour and you'll never kill it. It just keeps placing shield and continuous heal, and you can't take it down. We've seen all kinds of screenshots on Reddit and stuff. So I mean, it definitely makes him worse, and he'll slide down the tier list. But it is what it is. I'm not like really against it necessarily, because I know that's a huge problem for lots of like early to mid game players. All right, now let's go over some of the other changes here in the miscellaneous section. Okay, so this is a big deal. Mastery Scrolls can be purchased for 800 gems, and that doesn't change no matter what. So even if you're already, like, even if you farmed like 90% of the scrolls, it's still going to be 800 gems. So you're probably going to want to finish champions that you've currently been farming Mastery Scrolls on and not use this. But for like a champion from scratch, let's assess how worth it is. Okay, so we've got, it normally costs about 2100 energy for like an end game player to so believe it or not, this offer is actually going to be better for the lesser experienced players. So like those players that are farming stage 12 or 13, this is going to be much more worth it than someone like me who's farming stage 15 in 45 seconds, because I can grind out my masteries in 2.5 hours. So you can almost make the argument that it's not worth the 800 gems. Like but what I want to do is do a cost analysis here. So for like an end game player like me, you have to adjust this for yourself. But 2100 energy is typically going to cost between $10 and $12 if you're vigilant about how you acquire it in terms of what offers you purchase. And so if we have $10 to $12, that 800 gems is typically going to be worth about 13 to 15. So I think it's pretty fair. If you would have made me guess, I would have said the price model would be anywhere between 700 and 1,000. 700 would be a pretty good offer. 1,000 I would have said is a little bit too pricey. So 800 is about right. I would have said 800, 850 is about where I would expect it to land. So 800, I'm okay with it. It does cost you a little bit more than just grinding it if you're an end game player, but it's actually going to be cheaper in the long run probably if you're an early to mid game player. So I'm okay. I think it's a fair price. I don't think it's great, but I don't think it's like gouging us. So like in terms of the cost relation to energy and all that. So a pretty big change to the game, and this is a big deal for newer to mid game players that are willing to invest in their account. It's going to make that first Minotaur grind so much easier. I wish that would have been around when I was a new player. All right. And then this is obviously a huge deal, so I'm glad they listed it first. We're going to be getting 100. It's just force a habit. I always click on my market when it's up. But I didn't know it would crash my game. That's funny. Anyway, let's just talk about this while that loads. Okay. So I'm happy with that it's 100. I was worried that it was going to be like 50 or something. So we're getting an extra 100 slots in the champion storage that can be unlocked with silver or gems. It's probably going to be decently expensive because I remember the vault, unlocking was getting decently expensive last time. So it's probably going to cost a fair amount, but it'll definitely be worth it if you're willing to invest to get those 100 extra slots. That's fair, I think. 200 would have been optimal. 50 would have been like rage inducing, but 100 is good. I'm happy with that. Pre-battle will now allow champions that are in storage. But that's a good change. I like that. Not a whole lot to say, but a good quality of life change. A confirmation pop-up. So basically what this is when you would sell gear, or like remove it, it would give you a chance to destroy it or remove it, and people were like accidentally destroying artifacts. So that's just gonna pop up like a little confirmation thing. So that's good. Server maintenance alert window has been added. Okay, that's just a nice little change. And then artifact inventory has undergone thorough optimization, so that's cool. I'm interested to see how that goes. And an additional 200 slots. So I was thinking they were going to add an extra 100 or 200. So this is going to go from 400 to 700. Very needed, so I'm happy about that. And it sounds like they're not really going to charge us for that. So that's good job, Plarium. That's one of the best things about the patch. This is something I've been clamoring for. I've messaged this to Plarium. I've discussed it on stream. Fusion now allows to use champions of higher rank than required. So like when it says you need a level 40 rare and you're like, oh crap, I have that rare, but they're level 50. Now you don't have to go through getting a whole new one. You can actually use them, if your data has changed to a point where you don't need that rare anymore. That's a big change, and that's going to make up for a lot of mistakes where people accidentally level one up too far, or they have an old rare that was leveled up. They can go ahead and use them now. So very good change. We've needed that for a while. And then players who take the top spaces in global leaderboards for like tournaments and events, or I guess not events. There's only global leaderboards for tournaments. Will now get additional awards. So that's good. That's needed. Multi-battle, that's okay. It's not gonna like if you're farming the campaign with 2 champions, it's not gonna remove the other one. And then tavern UI improvements, very needed. I'm excited for that. I wonder what they're gonna do there. It doesn't really give us any input, but I hope it's like auto-filling food. Like when we're leveling up 1 stars, I hope it just automatically throws in a random like level 1 star. That would be great. I hope it's something like that, but I'm excited to see what goes on there. In terms of bugs, battle engine has been optimized. Crashes are fixed. That's always good. Champion and bosses have their AI improved. I really wish they gave us insight on what champions here, because there's some champions that are notorious for having bad AI, like Coldheart, Harvest Jack, Prince Kaimar. I really wish they told us which champions they were looking into, but I'll definitely jump in and start testing that stuff when the patch goes live. And then multiple minor bugs. So we don't get a whole lot of input on the bug fixes, but hey, okay. Okay, so general thoughts here. I think the champion balancing is a little bit underwhelming. I would have liked to see more changes. I gotta do this here. I would have liked to see a lot more changes. There's like 15 to 20 legendaries that really need some reworking and changes, and I really hope champion balancing comes more often than it has, since the inception of Raid. I hope they start doing it like once a month, once every 6 weeks. So the champion balancing was a little bit underwhelming in my opinion, but the other changes are pretty good. I think all in all, it'll be a good patch. It's just not as good as it could have been, but I hope we start getting this stuff more and more often and have a good December and have a good Christmas fusion. That fusion change is going to be pretty good. I'm excited for that. So yeah, let me know down in the comments what you think about the patch. I always enjoy reading your guys' input, and sorry about last night's video where I was a little bit vague and convoluted. I was trying my best to keep you guys informed, but yet also not burn my bridge with Plarium. So I was in a tough spot, and I appreciate your feedback. I'll do better for the next patch and the next videos in that situation. So yeah, as always, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.